other musicians and artists that are out there today, you know. They hear all these compliments, they say, wow, it must have been really great. So they get fat and satisfied and they get lost and they forget about the actual talent that they have and they start living into another world, you know. Well, sometimes it gets to be really easy to sing the blues when you're supposed to be making all this much money, you know. Because like money it's getting to be out of hand now, you know. It's, you know, and like musicians, especially young cats, you know, they get a chance to make all this money and they say,
Jimi Hendrix is making waves again, over 50 years after his passing. Washington State has finally recognized what fans have always known: Hendrix's incredible influence on music. Now, big names in the industry are fighting to be part of the ongoing tribute, and one legendary artist is even coming out of retirement to join in. The internet is buzzing over Hendrix's lasting impact. Born on November 27, 1942, in Seattle, Jimi's early life was marked by hardship. His parents, Al and Lucille, struggled with money and often fought. Lucille was just 17 when Jimi was born, and Al, stationed in Alabama, faced incarceration for requesting leave. Their unstable home life led to the state taking custody of Jimi's siblings, while Jimi himself was sent to live with a family friend for a time. In 1951, Al brought Jimi back to Seattle after his military service, but the family was soon torn apart. Jimi's mother died in 1958 from liver disease, and Al didn't let the boys attend her funeral. Instead, he handed them whiskey, telling them how men deal with loss. Music became Jimi's escape, and he began playing after finding a broken ukulele at age 15. By 1959, Jimi dropped out of high school to pursue music. He played with local bands and slept in abandoned cars, learning by watching others, including Butch Snipes, a guitarist who played with his teeth. In 1961, Jimi's run-in with the law led him to enlist in the Army, where he joined the 101st Airborne Division. His time in the military, however, was short-lived due to an ankle injury, and he was honorably discharged after just 13 months. Even in uniform, Jimi's love for music never wavered. He met Billy Cox, a fellow soldier, and together they formed the King Casuals. Music was his path forward, and nothing, not even the Army, could stop him from pursuing it. The Army may have said Jimi Hendrix couldn't meet physical demands, but reports suggest deeper issues with his performance. He skipped bed checks, slept during shifts, failed shooting drills, and struggled with physical training. Some even noted possible homosexual tendencies, which could lead to discharge at the time. Despite all this, he received an honorable discharge. After leaving the Army, Hendrix and Billy Cox moved to Clarksville, Tennessee, to keep making music. They formed a new version of the King Casuals and began playing small clubs. It was here that Hendrix began developing his iconic style, playing a right-handed guitar upside down and adding show-stopping tricks like playing behind his head and with his teeth. The pressure to entertain was intense. Hendrix once joked, "Down there, you have to play with your teeth, or else you get shot." It was a way of saying the audience expected more than just skill, they demanded a spectacle. Not everyone appreciated his flashy style. Some band leaders thought he was trying to steal the spotlight, but Hendrix pushed forward. From 1962 to 1965, he played as a backup guitarist on the Chitlin Circuit, a group of venues where black musicians could perform during segregation. The conditions were tough, with little pay and sometimes only food in exchange for a performance. In January 1964, feeling stuck, Hendrix made a bold move. He left the backup gigs behind and moved to the Hotel Theresa in Harlem, where he met lithophane Faye Priggen, who became both his girlfriend and support system. Around this time, he met the Allen brothers, who helped him get connected to Harlem's music scene. In February 1964, Hendrix entered the amateur night contest at the Apollo Theater, and won first place. That victory gave him the boost he needed. Soon after, a connection from the Joe Tex band helped him score an audition with Ronnie Isley, who offered him a spot as the Isley Brothers guitarist. In March 1964, Hendrix recorded his first studio track with the Isley Brothers, a two-part single called Testify. It didn't chart, but it was a start. In May, he played guitar on Mercy Mercy by Don Covey, which hit number 35 on the Billboard charts. Hendrix toured with the Isleys for most of 1964, but by October, he grew restless and left the band for new challenges. A short time later, he joined Little Richard's touring group, The Upsetters. In February 1965, while in Los Angeles, Hendrix recorded a single with Little Richard, I Don't Know What You Got, But It's Got Me. Though it only reached number 92 on the charts, it was another small step forward. During his stay at the Wilcox Hotel in Hollywood, Hendrix met singer Rosa Lee Brooks, marking another important connection in his journey. After meeting singer Rosa Lee Brooks, Hendrix was invited to play guitar on her single. He played on both the A-side, My Diary, and the B-side, UT, both written by Arthur Lee. This connection led to a lasting friendship, and Hendrix would later become a big supporter of Lee's band, Love. In July 1965, Hendrix made his first television appearance on Night Train, a local Nashville show. He performed with Little Richard's band, backing vocalists Buddy and Stacy on shotgun. It's now considered the earliest known video of Hendrix performing live. However, Hendrix's time with Little Richard was filled with tension. The two often clashed, especially over Hendrix's flashy style and desire to stand out on stage. By late July, Richard's brother fired Hendrix from the band. Shortly after, Hendrix signed his first recording contract with Juggy Murray at Sue Records and Copa Management. Hendrix briefly rejoined the Isley Brothers, recording the single Move Over and Let Me Dance. In the fall of 1965, he joined Curtis Knight and the Squires, staying with them for 8 months. During this time, he recorded How Would You Feel and Welcome Home. Hendrix also signed 2 contracts, one with Sue Records and another with Ed Chalpin, which would cause legal issues later in his career. While playing with Knight and the Squires, Hendrix worked with several other artists, including Joey D and the Starlighters, and recorded with King Curtis. In 1966, he earned his first songwriting credits for the instrumental tracks Hornet's Nest and Knock Yourself Out, released under Knight's band. Ready for a change, Hendrix moved to Greenwich Village in New York in 1966, where the vibrant artistic scene helped shape his evolving sound. He formed a new band, Jimmy James and the Blue Flames, and began experimenting with new styles and stage moves. He played at venues like Café Hua and Café O Go Go, before making a life-changing decision. On September 24, 1966, Hendrix arrived in London with little more than a guitar, a change of clothes, and $40 borrowed in his pocket. He had no idea that this trip would mark the beginning of his rise to fame. Earlier that year, former Animals bassist Chas Chandler had seen Hendrix perform in New York and recognized his extraordinary talent. Just 12 days after arriving in London, Chandler helped form the Jimi Hendrix Experience, bringing in bassist Noel Redding and drummer Mitch Mitchell. The band's first performance was on October 6, 1966. Hendrix's unique image was also crafted with Chandler's help, including the iconic spelling of Jimmy. The band quickly gained momentum, joining French singer Johnny Hallyday for a 4-show tour in France, marking the start of Hendrix's legendary career. On October 23, 1966, just weeks after arriving in London, the Jimi Hendrix Experience recorded their debut single, Hey Joe, at Delane Lee Studios. The recording process wasn't easy, as their loud Marshall amps caused issues with the studio equipment, and Hendrix was nervous about his vocals. The B-side, Stone Free, was recorded on November 2nd, Hendrix's first original composition with the band, encouraged by Chas Chandler to ensure he could earn money through publishing rights. Despite their talent, securing a record deal was difficult. Eventually, The Who's managers, Kit Lambert and Chris Stamp, signed him to their new label, Track Records. Their debut single was released through Polydor on December 16, 1966, and entered the UK charts at number 41, eventually reaching number 6 and staying there for 10 weeks. Hendrix also made TV appearances on shows like Ready Steady Go and Top of the Pops, increasing his visibility and helping his rise to stardom. Chas Chandler had a vision: he wanted the right people to see Hendrix perform. On October 1st, just a week after arriving in London, Chandler took Hendrix to a cream show at London Polytechnic. Hendrix asked to join him on stage, and after playing Killing Floor by Howlin' Wolf, he stunned the crowd. Eric Clapton, backstage, was left speechless and later told Chandler, "You never told me he was that fucking good." By mid-November, Hendrix was playing at the Bag O'Neill's Club, where stars like Paul McCartney, John Lennon, Mick Jagger, Jeff Beck, Pete Townsend, and Brian Jones were amazed by his performance. At the same time, Hendrix moved into 34 Montague Square with his girlfriend Kathy Etchingham, a flat owned by Ringo Starr. Hendrix's desire for control led to the creation of Electric Lady Studio, which he and his manager, Michael Jeffrey, built in Greenwich Village. The studio cost nearly $1 million, but it was a reflection of his ambition. Unfortunately, the project faced delays, and Hendrix left before its completion. The Jimi Hendrix Experience broke up in 1969, with the final show occurring at the Denver Pop Festival on June 29, where tear gas dispersed the crowd, and Hendrix barely escaped. Later, he played Woodstock in August 1969, where his rendition of the Star-Spangled Banner became one of the most iconic moments in music history. By 1970, Hendrix was struggling with personal issues, including drug and alcohol abuse. In May 1969, he was arrested in Toronto for drug possession but was acquitted later that year. The pressures of fame and his inner turmoil led to a tragic end. On September 18, 1970, Hendrix died from an overdose at the age of 27, joining the 27 Club of musicians who died young. Despite his short life, Hendrix's influence remains unparalleled. In 2025, he was posthumously awarded the Washington State Medal of Merit for his impact on music and culture. The Experience Hendrix Tour, a tribute to his music, made its comeback in 2025, featuring musicians like Kenny Wayne Shepherd, Zakk Wylde, and Buddy Guy, who recalls meeting Hendrix in 1968. The tour continues to honor Hendrix's legacy, keeping his music alive for generations.